Hey everyone, this is Danny Rivera Jr. and you're watching Rights Watch. All right, so we are facing unprecedented times, although it's the same old story, but different tactics. And today I have with me here on this show, President Ellis. He's president of AFGE Local 2338. President Ellis, we're honored to have you join us today. We spoke a little bit before starting this show, and I just want to say that some of the stories that you have there are quite inspiring, to say the least. And you're quite an inspiring man from the little things that I know about you. So I'm really honored to have you here today with us. And we're here because our members, our fellow civil servants are facing a huge struggle at the moment. And we faced something similar like this, but this time, this current administration has gone full force on it. And just in a way, just trying to get rid of people's rights. And it's really sad that this is happening, but I'm thankful for people like you that speak out against these things. So for our listeners, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your background and your role with Local 2338?
Sure. Yes. My name is Kevin Ellis. I am the local president of 2338 out of a small town called Poplar Bluff, Missouri. We are the third smallest VA in the country, which is probably which gives you an idea of how big our facility is. Our facility has about 1,200 people total, and about 900 of them, or 1,000 of them, are going to be bargaining unit employees. So we're not a huge local or a facility, but we represent our members very well, and we fight for them. I've been a member of my local union for about as long as I've been employed with the Department of Veteran Affairs. I began employment here with the VA in March of 2003. And about 6 months after joining the VA, I joined my local union. And about 6 months after that, I became a steward because I wanted to help with some of the issues that my president was talking about at the time. Her name was Luann Host. And I've been in the fight ever since, man. I've always had a passion to want to help people. My grandmother raised me in this small town on a third grade education, but she taught me to always help people because people is what life is all about. Without people, we don't have anything. So she's always taught me to be willing to help people. And that's one of the passions I have with being a union member is it's never about me, it's about us. Because if they deny a right for me, they're going to deny it for you. Or if they're going to deny it for you, they're going to deny it for somebody else. So it's always been in my mind, what are we collectively standing for and what are we collectively fighting for? So that has been my passion. It is still my passion, and I will go to my grave with that being my passion, is helping people. Not only have I been passionate about the union, but I've also worked with youth. Over the past 23 years, I used to coach a youth track and field team, AAU track and field team, and USA track and field team. And I would always instill in my athletes, you got to be ready for whatever comes in life. Use athletics as a challenge. It's going to develop you and build you to be a bigger and stronger person, because life is not always going to be rosy. You're going to face challenges in life, just like you're facing challenges in athletics. Use it to build you up, make you stronger, and help you learn the ins and outs about how to navigate life and about how to and how to structure how you move through, because it all parallels.
Right.
It all parallels.
Right, and it's so very inspiring, and more importantly, I think it's good that people see who are the people that are representing us here. When I have representation over in the VA, I want to know that the person who's representing me is for the people. It has my best interest in mind, and people like you and I and people, the good people up in AFGE, we're all in here in the same fight because we want to fight for the people that need it the most. We need a voice.
Yes.
And so often in workplaces, it's an area where anything can happen. Without witnesses, anything could happen. They can say anything against you, and without proper rules or regulations to help guide things like disciplinary actions and such, it's just chaos, and we're just at the whim of agencies to treat us unfairly, unequally. And it is so important to hear the voice of people like you who care about the people. And this is why we do what we do. We care about people, and we want to fight for them. We want to be a voice for those who don't have a voice otherwise. So thank you so much for sharing that, President Ellis. And it's so sad to me that we're meeting under these circumstances. Man, I wish we could have met before this, but I think there's always God always has a plan behind everything. And yes, sir.
Yes.
And and right now, as of this week, as practically this administration, starting 2 days ago, issued this statement saying that they're getting rid of our collective bargaining agreement. Bargaining agreements are so important, although they are not the only thing we can do for our employees. And I want to touch a little bit about that later. But, President Ellis, I want to get your reaction. What was your initial reaction when you heard the news, or when you got the news that this administration was actually going forward with doing away with our collective bargaining agreement?
My initial reaction was, here we go again. Here we go again. And this should not be a surprise to any of us. And we recognize this may happen. One of the things I tell people, if you want to know a person's history, if you go to buy a house, you go to buy a car, they run something on you called a credit report. Mm-hmm. And they run a credit report because they want to know if I'm going to do business with you, are you going to be loyal? Are you going to be committed? Are you going to make your payments and pay your bills on time? When we look at this administration, we have to look at the credit history of the administration. And when you look at the credit of the Trump administration and this current party that's supporting him, the credit history is an F. I know credit ratings go from 0 to about 850 points. Right now, they're hovering around a 0.5 on that scale, which and it just kind of tells you what we're dealing with. One of the things I was telling my members in this current fight is that we all need to stay together, because a bully can take one person out easier than they can take out 10,000, or if they can take out 1 million people. It's easier and better for us to stay together and stay united rather than be divided. So my message to my membership has been, keep your head up, stay encouraged, and stay engaged. The Bible talks about the men of Issachar, and the men of Issachar had the ability to recognize the seasons and the times, what we were in, what we were going through. And I remember telling our council and our AFGE leadership back in 2020, I said, look, Joe Biden may have just been elected as the upcoming new president. However, this fight is a long way from being over. And I told them that because if you go back and look at what happened after the election of Barack Obama in 2008, when he got elected in 2008, his campaign ran on, when they go low, we go high. Meaning when they talk negative and when they say negative and bad things about you, shrug it off, go higher. That worked good for 2008. That's not going to work for 2024. It was not going to work in 2020, and it did not work in 2016. As they continued to go low, we stayed high. And I was explaining to the council and AFGE is, yes, we have Biden coming in, but we have to keep a consistent, ongoing campaign to engage the public, to keep them engaged with us, so that over the next 4 years, we were ready for 2024. And I believe that as an organization, we missed that mark. The only voice we heard from 2020 up to the election was that of this administration, talking about I was cheated, the election was stolen, I wasn't treated fair. And we allowed that voice to echo so much throughout the country that it pulled some of our union members in that direction. They didn't recognize the threat that we were facing. And I just look back and think, what if we would have, from a national campaign, kept our foot on the gas? In 2019, we were working with a group called the Crisis Response Team. The council had hired them to do public PR, and they were teaching us across the country how to go out and rally and galvanize the public. As bargaining unit employees, the Crisis Response Team, we were so effective that we had managers from Portland, Oregon to West Virginia wanting to join us in our rallies. And we were told that, hey, we can't have the managers with us. Well, I'm sorry. In my mind, if we're all rowing in the same direction, whether you're a manager or a union member, we all have the same, we're all facing the same enemy. So what does it matter? And I could not convince them to keep them rallies going. We had planned a big rally in February of 2020 when McDonough was going to be sworn into office. And we want to go to D.C., and a rally had been planned during LegCon, because we want the administration to know, yes, we're great, we're glad that you got elected, but here are the reoccurring issues that we need to be dealing with. And some of them were lack of accountability for agency officials, illegally terminated employees through 714, illegally terminated employees, bad negotiations, bad acting managers. And for some reason, they decided not to move forward with that rally. And what I was told was, we want to be nice to the new administration because they're going to work with us. Well, I'm sorry. We see where we ended up. And you have to be able to recognize the times and seasons that you're in, yes, and what's coming, in order to be prepared for the battle. And I feel like we are 4 to 5 years behind the fight. I remember probably 7 or 8 months ago, if not longer, 9 months ago, we were all saying, oh, it's time to get out and go rally and go help support candidates who are supporting the union. Wait a minute. We should have been doing that the whole term from 2020 up to 2024, and starting it in May and June of 2023, in my opinion, was quite a bit late. So, we're facing this again. I feel sorry for our membership of having to deal with this all over again. We have members coming by the union office now watching us pack up the boxes and pack up the bags and move out and move the boxes to our homes. And we're telling them, look, we have to leave the building temporarily, but we're not leaving you.
Yes.
We're leaving the building because we're being told we have to leave the building, but we're not leaving you. And I'm going to take leave. I'm going to take annual leave. I'm going to take sick leave. I'm going to work on the weekends and after duty hours to make sure you still get your representation. One of my members came over to me, and she was about in tears this morning. Her name was Kelly. And she says, Kevin, what am I going to do now that you're gone? She said, Kevin, in 2020, they kicked you guys out the building and I got fired. And Kevin, I didn't come back to work until you guys came back into the building. And she was literally almost in tears. I said, hey, keep your head up. Don't you cry. Don't you worry. We got you covered. We will not stop representing you. And we're going to continue to be in the fight, even though the VA says we don't have a contract. We know damn well we have a contract.
Yes.
So keep your head up. And, I just feel sorry for people like that who is having to come to work, with anxiety and depression, fear, stress. No one should have to go to work in that manner. And I just feel sorry for our membership who are emailing and texting all day. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I have to tell them, keep your head up, stay strong. We're not going anywhere. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue this fight. We're not giving up.
I think you have the right. I mean, that's on point. That's the right message that we need to be sending out to our members at this time. And that's the same message that we're trying to send to our members here. And that's why I always end with the phrase, we are not giving up, because we truly are not giving up. We didn't give up before. And we certainly aren't giving up now. And it's important. I mean, we did face something similar to this in the last administration where, instead of that, and they're doing it a little different this time, because back then they went after our official time, right? So their thought process was, well, if you don't have anybody to represent you because they can't use official time, then there's no unions. Now they're going away with the contract, thinking, well, if there's no contract, then there's no way you can get representation. And I think there's a misconception on whether employees can be represented or not. And there's contradicting guidance going around from the agencies, and but I'm just letting people know, and I'm with you on this train. We're still going to do everything we can in our power to represent wherever we can, and most importantly, we're gonna keep fighting this in the courts. And it's surprising to me that history is meant for us to learn from it. We're meant to learn from history. We're meant to learn from past history. And when you're talking about the credit score, to me, I'm thinking about, well, there is a negative credit score, but there is such a problem with conflicting politics with all of this, and I think people have gotten so conflicted over it, and sadly, because of it, because putting politics over your own your own rights, your the best interest for you, the best interest for your family, the best interest for everybody else. And a lot of people hadn't realized that when you don't let go of politics and you base your decisions off that, there are going to be consequences. And unfortunately, I think there's been a lot of missteps that like communication, like you said, and this is why it's so important and to go to venues like these and like yours and your YouTube channel where people talk about these things, so that people develop an interest of getting informed. A lot of this happens because people don't get informed all the way of what's going on, and then we see ourselves in this situation. I think information is power. And what you're doing right now and what we're doing right now is we're trying to inform the people of right now what's going on and what we're going to do about it. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But I did want to touch on the issue of
Danny.
Yes, sir.
Part of the misinformation is a plan. People need to understand that misinformation is part of a strategy.
Yes.
And also not only misinformation, but lack of willing to share that information. Right. I live in rural part of America, and there's one family from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which is 80 miles north of me, to parts of the Boot Hill, Arkansas, is owned by one family. They control the news media in the area. They control the newspapers. And I remember communicating on multiple occasions with a local news agency called KFVS 12, a young lady by the name of Crystal Britt. I came to know Crystal Britt probably back in 2016 when she when a few disgruntled employees were putting out there that the union is acting bad. And she came in and she did a story. And when she interviewed us, we told her the truth. We said, hey, here's the facts of what's happening. That we're representing Dr. Dale Klein, who is a whistleblower, and we're not going to stop representing him. And all of the negative comments that were coming from people who were fighting against us had to do with misinformation. And they kept spreading that throughout government computer and throughout the local communities. As you can imagine, the local communities all around the Boot Hill watched that news story by KFVS 12 and Crystal Britt talking about a power struggle between the union and the agency. There was never a power struggle. We was representing Dr. Dale Klein, a whistleblower, who it was validated that he was a definite whistleblower. But because the news media was not willing to publish the correct information, the misinformation spread like wildfire. It spread like wildfire. And we had 2 reports that were made by a local newspaper involving unsafe working conditions that almost killed an employee. And from that point on, since 2019 to 2020, the local Daily American Republic newspaper has been unwilling to interview and look at the facts that we give them and to get rid of the misinformation. So in our local communities like I live in, misinformation is running rampant. It's running rampant, and people only hear one side unless we have people like yourself on these podcasts that can get the real message out to the people. Misinformation is intended to cause chaos.
Yes.
It's intended to cause anxiety. It's intended to cause depression, and it is intended to cause people to not remain locked together in solidarity, but to say, you know what? I quit. I give up. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. And when you do that, you begin to pull away at the strength of the union and the public, because people are saying, you know what? If it's going to be that bad, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to give up. But we have to continue to remind people, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. I often remind the public, the reason why you have a 40-hour work week is because of a union. The reason why you have vacation is because of a union. The reason why you have the wages that you do and they're not lower, although they're not high enough, is because of a union. And we have to continue to educate the public that the unions are the reasons why you have worker protections. The unions are the reason why you have safe drinking water. The reason why you have a parking lot. The reason you don't have to pay for parking. The reason why you have air conditioning. The reason why you have lights and heat. It's because of the union. Don't ever think an agency is going to give that to you out of the goodness of their heart. If you do, you're being naive. It's because of the unions that gave you that. And we need to continue to speak out against the misinformation and the lack of processing and forwarding information. The two go hand in hand together. Suppression is as strong as misinformation. If I can suppress the truth and get the misinformation right, I'm going to be successful. And that's the position the VA is taking with the misinformation and its suppression of the voices of those who are employed by them.
And it's incredible how quickly misinformation travels, and it's incredible the power that misinformation has on the people, even within our own people. When they're misled to believe something that it's not. Yes. I was so surprised when I read the guidance or the news that the VA had presented on their website, and it talks about the unions being a hurdle. It talks about the unions being affecting their ability to promote and hire people. And I'm just thinking to myself, we need more people. I mean, we have such a giant shortage of people in our government that we need. How is the union being hindering that ability? Whenever they say that, and I've said this before, it's a mirror. They're mirroring what they're doing, and they're blaming it on unions, saying, well, they're the reasons why you don't have enough staff. They are the reasons why we can't advance. They are the reasons why we can't make things better. When in actuality, all of this is not just misinformation, is misrepresentation of what goes on. Whenever we're working, whenever we're representing, whenever we're doing all these things, we have employees' best interest in mind. And it's incredible for me that agencies think that people are going to go for this whenever they say, we are the ones who have your best interest at heart, when we know for a fact that if it weren't for us, how many people have been fired or would have been fired unfairly without unions? How many times have we catched unsafe working conditions? How many times do we catch managers harassing employees just based on the color of their skin, just based for the fact that they just don't like him at all, based on an accent, based on different things? It's unions that are in the way of unfair treatment rather than of progress. So it's such a
Danny,
big misrepresentation.
They have a word for that, and it's called gaslighting.
Yes.
Gaslighting is a term that you're speaking about. The union has never been a hurdle. And I have to remind people, since the union has been a partner with the Department of Veteran Affairs, we have never been a hurdle to promotions and safe working conditions until this administration came into power. We've never been a hurdle. So the question in my mind, and I ask people, why is it we only became a hurdle today, and it wasn't a hurdle 10 years ago, and it wasn't a hurdle during the Biden administration?
It's only now that it's a matter of now it's national security. But what about the rest of the years? What happened then? Why is it such a big problem now? And yeah, you're right. It is gaslighting.
This agency wants to put people in place who are not qualified to do the jobs. You had mentioned safety earlier. We have had some horrific safety reports at our agency. And that's because the agency utilized the merit promotion system as if it was a Verizon network, a friends and family network. And they hired people and put them in positions in safety who were not qualified. We had an employee here, man, that almost lost her life. Her name is Christy. I'm not going to mention the last name. Christy, during 2020, she contracted COVID, and she was told after she got over it that she could take the vaccine. Well, we knew, the entire country knew, you could not take the vaccine for at least 90 days after you recovered from it. They forced that young lady, they forced her to take the vaccine within 2 weeks of her coming back to work. And because of it, she almost died. And they refused to help that young lady for 2 years. We had no idea as a union that had even happened until she came to us in 2023. And we said, what? What are you talking about? She said, Kevin, they made me take the vaccine and it almost killed me. It almost literally killed me. I cannot work no more than 16 hours per day because it destroyed my immune system. And they counted this lady AWOL, threatened to fire her, all because of they made her take the vaccine, and it nearly took her life. Now, had the union not been there to fight for her, she would be terminated right now. So what I say to those people who are saying the union is a hurdle, I encourage Secretary Collins to come meet with us and come talk with the employees like Scotty White, who lost 12% of his lung capacity due to bad air in the workplace. Come talk to employees like Christy, who is still suffering from long COVID only because the agency made her take the vaccine. That's the only reason she's in the condition that she's in now. Had they not made her take that vaccine, I believe she would still be healthy today. But because they made her do that, that's what she's sick right now. So the agency does not want to hire the best people. They want to hire their own people. Right. In the past year, we have gotten 12 people promoted who were the best qualified candidate over people who were selected. And you don't get this type of resolution for people who are the best qualified unless you have documented proof to back it up. And arbitrators have ruled these people were more qualified than the people that they selected. So it's not that the union is a hurdle. The union is a stopgap to prevent the illegal promotions, but we also a helpmeet. No, we have been a tremendous help to the VA over the years. Past 40, 50 years, we've been a tremendous help to the VA and getting their mission accomplished. And we're still a help to the VA. It's not the union that's the problem. It's bad management that's the problem. And the bad management, in my opinion, began to roll in 2017. And a lot of them are still in place today, making them same bad decisions they made in 2017 and 2018. So when I tell people, when I talk about the VA, I said the VA is a great place to work. But when you join the VA, join your union because you will need the protection. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
That's right. That's right. And it's many people think and feel like, oh, I'm a good performer. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. It doesn't matter. And people need to understand you could be the best performer there is. And ultimately management, a lot of times what they look for is who do I like and who do I don't like? And they don't base their decisions of performance. They don't really base their decisions on standards.
No.
You see it all the time. You see people being the worst performers imaginable being placed in these positions of power, these positions of management. And it's incredible how they're moving the subject away from the union helps you, and they're moving it away and say, no, the union's the hurdle for us to be able to hire great performers and to hold them poor performers accountable. Mr. Ellis, before we continue, I have to make a quick pause over here and we'll be right back, okay?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. Attention to all union leaders, labor defenders, and businesses of all kind. Do you ever struggle to stay connected with your members? Have trouble keeping track of your cases, or just feel overwhelmed trying to juggle files, deadlines, and communication all at once? Trust me, I've been there. That's exactly why I created Riversites. Riversites wasn't built in a boardroom. It was built from my own experiences and needs. I got tired of tools that didn't actually work or platforms that look outdated, hard to navigate, don't have all the tools I needed, and somehow were outrageously expensive. So I decided to create something better. Riversites gives you a professional, modern website. But more importantly, it gives you the tools to actually run your office. It's customizable, it looks great, and you're never left on your own. You get real one-on-one support every step of the way. But Riversites goes far beyond just a website. You can track all your cases in one place, auto-assign case numbers, follow timelines without missing a beat, store your files securely, use built-in appointment scheduling, and even host your meetings all from one easy-to-use system. Best part, it's extremely affordable. How do I know? Because I built this platform from my own experience, and I made sure every union could afford the tools they need to run their office the way your members deserve, because your members deserve the best, and so do you. And here's the thing. Riversites isn't just for unions. We built websites for any business, big or small. Whether you're a shop owner, a nonprofit, a service provider, or a community leader, we've got your back. As a way to support the cause, we're offering an extra 10% off any multi-year plan when you use the code Fight for Rights. Just go to our website at riversitehub.com/fightforrights and schedule your free consultation today. That is again, riversitehub.com/fightforrights. Let's build something powerful together. We were talking, like you said, we're talking about promotions and the way that this administration or agencies rather, they just promote whoever they want because simply not based on the merits, but because they like him. I mean, that term, you said the term gaslighting, and I think there's no other better term for this than that. And there's no, I think whenever we do that, there's no respect for our employees at all. There's no respect for that whenever they're saying stuff like that, that's an insult to our intelligence. Whenever you're telling us that the unions are the ones who are impeding the way of progress. So
I agree.
I
completely agree with you.
It's such a shame, and sadly, that's the strategy that they're going after. Yes. And talking about misinformation, there's one thing that we've been hearing about, and I'm wondering if you guys have heard about this over at your local, and it's about the denial of representation. And I know this is the biggest worry about our members is, will I be able to be represented? Yes. And right now, that simple answer is you should be able to be represented. There shouldn't be a hurdle to be represented. And now talking about misinformation, we're getting word from agencies telling their employees, no, you can't be represented. As early as this morning, I heard about managers telling their employees, you no longer have a union. And thank God that we have employees who are following up, and they're saying, no, our union contacted us and they're telling us they're still fighting for us. So
that's correct.
And that's very important. That touches on the point of communication between members and the union. And and we're starting to hear from agencies, no, the union is not allowed to be representatives. And then even at a personal level, there's some things in there, and I don't want to go too much into detail because there's so much that we're missing. We're missing information on this as we speak. But what can you tell us about this current point about the denial of representation at the agencies?
That is illegal. Employees have a right to representation. That's in federal statute. And once again, you have to point back and ask yourself, what's the motivation behind telling employees that? Why would an employer tell a group of employees they don't have a union? It's a 2-word term for that: union busting. Mm-hmm. If you want to bust up a union, you tell employees you don't have a right to representation. If you're trying to bust a union, you tell employees you can't talk to the union. No one can fight for you. That gets the employees to be, one, disappointed, discouraged. They drop their union membership, or they listen to the misinformation and feel like, well, if the union's not going to be there for me, then why am I even a part of the union? Why am I paying dues? That is a targeted, intended strategy on behalf of the agency to try to bust the union. Listen, this is not the first time this administration has tried to bust the union. The first time they tried to bust us was back in 2018 and 2020 when they kicked us out the buildings. That didn't work. So now they're coming back for round number 2, and they're taking a more direct approach. And that more direct approach is now tell the people they don't have a union, even though they have a union, tell them they don't have one. They feel like they would be successful if they can cause a significant amount of our members to stop supporting the union. That's their overall goal and plan. So we have to continue to fight back against that and educate our members. No, we're still here fighting for you. I told my membership this morning, I said, look, you have to realize that if we're going to fight to make sure your rights are protected, we have to stay connected. And you have to remain a dues paying member, because those dues is what allows us to go to the appeal court and say, here's how they take away the union rights. We want you to fix this and reinstate it. Without the membership and dues, employees will lose hope because we can't fight for them. But employees have to be told repeatedly, not just once, every day, hey, we're still here for you. When you come into work, come across the parking lot, we're still here for you. We got your back. Email them, send them a text, get them broad stripes. Whatever you need to do, continue to communicate with your members. We are here and we are here to stay. And if you do that, we will be successful. So the agency they cannot tell employees they are not entitled to representation. And we're telling some of our members, save them emails when you hear that. If they tell that to you verbally, go back and document the conversation. My supervisor just came to my office 15 minutes ago at 1:45 and told me I no longer have a union. I have nobody to fight. Document that conversation. Why? Because it will come back to haunt the agency in the near future. So members do have a right to membership, and we told our people, if you can't talk to us during work, we'll talk to you after work.
Yes.
That's why my cell phone number is nationwide. My email address is nationwide. I'm not confined to a government email account. You can reach me 24/7 if you need to, and I'm there for you. So I'm going to encourage all of our representatives nationwide, get your personal information out there to your people so they can contact you after work, weekends, during lunch, because they need to know and be able to hear your voice on the other end say, I got your back. We're still here. We're not going anywhere.
Right. People have to understand as well. We are the union. I mean, collectively, we are one. We are the union.
We are.
And to say that you don't have a union, you're saying you don't have any more power. You don't have any. There's no collective anymore that can fight against us. And sadly, I will tell management that there is a collective and there is a group of people that still want to fight, that still want to be represented. They still have the right to be represented, whether you say they can or not. We can't contend against the law.
That's true.
So it is so important to let our members know, yes, if they deny you representation, get in touch with your union. If they told you cannot be represented, we cannot afford you. You do not have a union. You do not have representation. And employees have the choice, as far as my understanding goes, they legally have a choice to choose to have a representation of their choosing. So whenever they deny that to them, they're violating their rights. And I don't want to get too much into the lawfulness of it, because I know there's potential litigation coming up. So I'm not quite sure how I can impact the function of this if I talk too much about it. But I will say that there is a right to representation, and for the agency to say no, you can't be represented, there's a potential violations of your rights right there. And you touch a very important point. Why don't we want representation for our employees, for our members? What is the point? Why do you want to sit by yourself with an employee, with no third party? Most of the times it's not just you, it's the manager, it's somebody else of their choosing. It could be an assistant manager and HR. And you have three people sitting down on a meeting against one person with nobody that can take notes for them. They can be witness to what they're saying. They can intervene if the rights are being violated right there and then. So what is the purpose? What is the purpose of denying your employees representation other than being nefarious at the back end?
I agree. I completely agree with you. Union busting. This comes down to union busting. At the end of the day, the administration's entire objective is union busting. That's the entire objective of the agency. And there's another two words, a two-word phrase called at will. The agency wants to create what they call an at will atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Missouri is not a right to work state. And I often tell people, listen to how they are framing their message. When you hear somebody say right to work, to somebody who don't know what right to work is, it sounds great. Hey, I got a right to work. Yes, no, that's not what it means. What it means is right to work means right to fire. And when they're trying to say you don't have any union rights, they're saying we have a right to fire you or discipline you or terminate your employment anytime we want to, and you don't have a right to say we can't do it. That's what this administration is all about, is getting rid of the right of the employee to say, I was illegally terminated, and here's the proof. It gives the employee, they tell an employee, you don't have a right to say that the air you're breathing is unsafe. They're saying you don't have a right to say, I can't make you work past 4:30. They're taking away their rights. And that's the intent of them trying to union bust and make the VA an at-will agency so they can walk in and say you're fired like they did on The Apprentice years and years ago, which was nothing but a hoax.
Yes,
but
sir.
That's the intent of the agency.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's the way that we're running this the government in general. You know, we're not being governed right now.
Correct.
Right now, we're being dictated. We're not being governed, and that's the whole point of all of this is to dictate agencies, to dictate employees, to hold all the power. For what? Why do you need all the power if it's not so that you can fire at will whoever you wish for any reason without due process, without any appeal rights, and this is just crazy. And so, you know, we right now,
you know, Danny,
yes,
part of our contract and Article 17 says employees have a right to refuse an illegal order and an improper order. Meaning, if you tell a nurse to do something and it's against her license, or it can cause a patient to be killed, they have a right to refuse that care and not face retaliation. That's the reason why the agency went after Dr. Dale Klein in 2016. They tried to make him provide care that would have cost the veteran his life. And because he said, hey, look, I want to do what you want me to do. My license said the building has to be to this code, the room has to be to this code, the ceiling has to be a certain type of the floor. Otherwise, if every time I inject a patient, there's a risk that they would get infected and they would die. And because he raised his voice and said, we need to fix the room to make it safe, they targeted him. So that is the reason why they want to be able to tell employees, do whatever I tell you to do, regardless of whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Do it or we're going to fire you.
At the end of the day, they'll go after your license. Whatever happens, if something negative happens, they'll go after your license, even if you're following their policies, and you can't really refuse if you don't have a CBA.
They're gonna gaslight you, and they're gonna point the finger saying it was your fault. There's been numerous occasions where you caught the agency saying blaming the employee for something that went wrong when it wasn't the employee. It was the agency system that caused the issue, but not the employee, because the employee was told to follow that system, and when they did, someone got harmed. It wasn't the employee's fault. It was the system. And without having a union there to stand up for the employee, those employees will be railroaded.
That's right.
They will be railroaded. And that's just the bottom line.
This is the importance of having a CBA.
Yes.
This is the importance of having a CBA, because CBA gives you the power to be able to advocate for your patients. I'm a nurse myself, and right now I'm losing that power to advocate for my patients in a way where I don't fear retaliation, where I don't fear that I'm going to be fired for failure to follow a supervisor's instructions. And I have a good relationship with my supervisor, don't get me wrong, but still there's supervisors out there that quite frankly won't care. And the point of the matter is, it doesn't matter how good of a relationship you have. If you're being told to do something that's illegal, you're being compelled at this point to do it at the duress of losing your job. And then so these are the situations that we avoid by having a collective bargaining agreement. Yes. And then afterwards, you know, there comes other things that come into play. There's litigation. The employees come after the agencies, and then there's a whole different big bubble of things that go behind the scenes where the agency is just wasting more money.
Yes, they are.
Where they could have just avoided it by just letting the union advocate for employees.
Yes, sir.
We are the prevention. We prevent stuff like this from happening. And
you know, that's something Secretary Collins said. If you remember, he said because of the union, We had to spend $137 million bringing back bad employees. That tells me that you're gaslighting the employees and the union. The employees wasn't the bad actors, it was the managers. And oftentimes, them decisions come above the frontline managers' input. They're being told by the director or senior staff that's being dictated to the lower level manager to perform some of these acts. So if you remember that the director in Phoenix, Arizona, she knew exactly what was happening. And she did not want the wait times to get outside of the building to know the veterans were not being seen in a timely manner. She knew that they were not being seen. The employees knew that they were not being seen, and they were able to take them paper forms and put them in drawers and cause the veterans harms. Those directions were coming from above the frontline manager's input. So this does not just happen in a vacuum. It happens from the top down. And I tell people, that's why as a union, you have to stay united. Because when the top down instructions go, they can get rid of us one by one if we divide it. But if we stand together like the false teeth, we'll be very, very strong.
Yes, sir. That is absolutely right. That is the power of collective bargaining. And that is the power of a collective as a whole. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's so important that we stay together. Yes. We have to stay together. We cannot give up just because they're saying or they're claiming that we don't have collective bargaining rights. Right now, that may be the case, but if we keep fighting, that's not going to be the same case tomorrow. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep fighting. And I think that's our upcoming battle right now is to get these collective bargaining rights back. And I think I saw this happen already with the TSA, and they got him back. The TSA got their collective bargaining rights back. Why? Because it wasn't right what they did against those employees. So if the TSA got him back, brothers and sisters, there's hope. There's hope that we will get him back. And you have a big team that is fighting to make sure that you get those. So do not give up. Do not give up. Stand your ground.
That is correct.
Everywhere, AFGE members everywhere, not just AFGE. I mean, union members, private and government, all alike. We have to stand together and fight for what's right. And what's right is to have a voice within your workplace so that you can fight for your veterans. You can fight for the people that you serve in the right manner, and you're not being coerced to do things improperly. So this is our fight right now.
Yes, this is our fight. I agree. It is our fight. It's not one, it's our fight. I tell people all the time, your representatives are not the union. That includes you.
Yes.
We are all in this fight together. And follow President Kelly's advice, stay together, stay united, and we'll get through this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, all right. So before we close, is there any final message that you like to share with your members and union members abroad about standing together during these times?
I tell my membership, in order for us to survive attacks, I watch a lot of movies, and I remember watching the movie called 300. And I watched how these small group of men, there wasn't a big vast army, but there was a small group of men. And when they were attacked, they bonded together, they made a shield, they followed direction and instructions, and they stayed connected, and they won the battle. If I'm going to give advice to anybody out there, it would be, one, pray. The Bible said that prayers of the righteous availeth much. First thing is pray. Second thing is stay in constant communication with your membership and stay in constant communication with one another. We will only become divided if we cease to communicate with one another. If we can't communicate during duty hours on government computers, you have a cell phone. You've got a personal email account. You know where somebody lives. You're in the same town. Communicate. And if you do that, we will stay united and we will win this battle. Remember, the victory is not given to the swift or the bold, for those that can endure and stay in to the end. That would be my message to AFGE. Stay in the fight, continue to stay united, and we will be victorious at the end.
Very powerful message. Thank you so much, President Ellis, for your time and for the invaluable work that you do to support our members and our workforce. President Ellis, where can people find you, and where can they hear your message?
My personal cell phone number, and I give it out to everybody, is 573-429-9030. I have two personal email accounts I use. One of them is K as in Kevin, C as in cat, E as in Edward, the number 40@yahoo.com. And I also have a Gmail account, which is K as in Kevin, C as in cat, E as in Edward, 401234@gmail. Text me, email me, I will respond, I will call back, I will email back. The only thing I ask is if you're going to talk to me by cell phone, text me first and tell me who you are. Because I get my phone rings often that says, in Missouri, did you know a break-in happened every 5 minutes? Somebody trying to sell something. So at least communicate with me who you are. I pick up the phone and answer. Otherwise, I might think it is a spam call, and I might not respond to it. But I'm reachable by cell phone, by email. I'm here for you, for anyone nationwide. You know, I've been in this battle for a while. And not only do I fight for my members locally, I have recovered over $80 million for housekeepers across the country. Because it's not about me. It's about the employees. And I've done that at 5 different hospitals so far because I care about the people. It was the housekeepers who were not being treated fair in Missouri, in Arkansas, in Illinois, in Seattle, Washington. It was those employees who were not being treated fair. And we stayed together and we fought together. And they were only able to contact me by cell phone or by email. They had no other way to do it. So I'm in the fight with every single person nationwide. We're here for you. Don't hesitate to call me or text me. I'm here to help.
All right. Well said. Very committed, President Ellis, and a prime example of what the union is all about. Thank you so much for being here today, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. All right. And to all of our viewers, thank you so much for being with us here today. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe our videos. We are sharing this message out because it's so important, more now than ever, and we need your help to spread it. So please keep sharing. We are seeing your messages. We are seeing your interactions. We know that you're furious and know that we stand with you together. So thank you very much. My name's Danny Rivera Jr. God bless. And remember, we are not giving up.